Many people think the .357 Magnum is simply a powerful cartridge, but few realize that it created an entire generation of revolvers, completely changing how handguns are judged in terms of power, control, and reliability. Today, we go straight to the point and count down the greatest .357 Magnum revolvers of all time. The wheel guns that set the standard, survived real-world abuse, and built their reputations on real performance, not marketing. This video is compiled from multiple sources. If anything is inaccurate or missing, please leave a comment below so we can review and improve the information.
Welcome Pistol Line X19.
Number 1. Smith & Wesson Highway Patrolman Model 28. If there is one revolver that truly defines what the .357 Magnum was meant to be, it is the Smith & Wesson Highway Patrolman Model 28. This revolver does not win its place at number 1 because it is rare, flashy, or expensive. It earns this position because it represents the purest expression of duty-grade Magnum engineering ever put into service. The Model 28 was built for one purpose: to survive real work, real recoil, and real round counts without excuses. And it did exactly that for decades. The Highway Patrolman is built on Smith & Wesson's massive end frame, the same frame size trusted for some of the most powerful revolvers ever produced. From the moment you pick it up, there is no mistaking what this gun is about. It is large, solid, and confidence-inspiring. Most examples were issued with a 4-inch barrel, though 6-inch versions exist, and the 4-inch configuration is widely considered the sweet spot. That barrel length provides excellent velocity from .357 Magnum ammunition while keeping the revolver balanced and controllable. Overall length comes in just under 10 inches, giving you a long, stable sight radius that makes accurate shooting feel natural rather than forced. Weight is a major part of the Model 28's legendary shootability. Unloaded, it typically weighs around 44 ounces. That mass completely changes how Magnum recoil feels. Instead of a sharp snap, recoil becomes a heavy, rolling push that the shooter can manage shot after shot. This is why law enforcement agencies trusted it with full-power Magnum loads at a time when officers actually carried and trained with real-duty ammunition. The gun does not flinch, loosen up, or complain. It simply keeps working. One of the defining traits of the Highway Patrolman is its finish. To keep costs down for law enforcement contracts, Smith & Wesson gave it a subdued matte blue finish rather than the high-polished treatment of the Model 27. That choice made the gun less glamorous, but far more practical. The finish resists glare, hides wear, and reinforces the revolver's no-nonsense identity. This was never meant to be a showpiece. It was meant to ride in a duty holster and come out when things went bad. The trigger is classic Smith & Wesson at its best. In double action, the pull is smooth, steady, and predictable, encouraging controlled shooting even under stress. In single action, the break is crisp and clean, making precision shots feel almost effortless. Cylinder lockup is strong and consistent, timing is excellent, and the 6-round cylinder prioritizes strength and reliability over chasing higher capacity. Everything about the action reflects an era when revolvers were expected to last an entire career, not just a few seasons. Sights are simple and effective, with a pinned front sight and an adjustable rear sight that allows shooters to dial in point of impact for different loads. Ergonomics favor control over concealment. The grip frame accommodates large hands comfortably, and recoil management is outstanding even with heavy Magnum loads. This is not a revolver designed to disappear under clothing. It is a service revolver built to dominate the firing line and inspire confidence when it matters most. There are, of course, downsides. The Model 28 is large and heavy, making concealed carry impractical for most people. It is no longer in production, so finding clean examples requires searching the used market. Prices have climbed over the years, often landing between $1,200 and $1,800 depending on condition. but that only reinforces its legacy. The Smith & Wesson Highway Patrolman Model 28 earns the #1 spot because it embodies everything the .357 Magnum was designed to deliver: power, durability, control, and absolute reliability. It is not just one of the best Magnum revolvers ever made, it is the standard by which all other duty-grade .357 revolvers are judged. Number 2. Henry Big Boy Revolver. The Henry Big Boy Revolver is one of the most unexpected and refreshing entries in the .357 Magnum world, and that is exactly why it earns the #2 position on this list. Henry built its reputation on classic American lever-action rifles, smooth actions, and old-school craftsmanship, so when the company announced a revolver, a lot of shooters were skeptical. But once people actually got the Big Boy Revolver in their hands, it became clear that Henry did not enter the revolver market to experiment. They entered it to make a statement. This revolver is unapologetically solid, built from stainless steel and offered in both blued steel and brass-style frame finishes. The Big Boy Revolver has a presence that immediately sets it apart from more tactical or modern designs. It is chambered in .357 Magnum and also fires .38 special ammunition, making it flexible for both serious shooting and relaxed range time. Most configurations feature a 4-inch barrel, which is a classic length for Magnum revolvers and delivers excellent velocity, accuracy, and balance. Overall length comes in just over 9 inches, giving the shooter a stable sight radius without making the gun feel oversized. Weight is a big part of the Big Boy Revolver's character. Unloaded, it comes in at roughly 40 ounces, depending on the frame material. That weight works heavily in the shooter's favor. Full-power .357 Magnum ammunition feels controlled and predictable, with recoil coming straight back instead of snapping upward. This makes the revolver extremely pleasant to shoot for extended sessions, especially compared to lighter, carry-oriented revolvers. With .38 special ammunition, the gun becomes almost effortless to manage, which makes it ideal for practice, training, and introducing new shooters to revolvers. The action itself reflects Henry's attention to smoothness and consistency. The double-action trigger pull is steady and deliberate, encouraging controlled shooting, while the single-action brake is clean and crisp, making precision work easy. Timing and lockup feel tight and confidence-inspiring, and the revolver gives off that overbuilt feeling that people associate with firearms meant to last generations. Capacity is 6 rounds, keeping the cylinder strong and traditional, and aligning perfectly with the revolver's classic identity. One of the most distinctive design choices is the transfer bar safety system, paired with a frame-mounted firing pin, which allows safe carry with all chambers loaded. Henry also incorporated a removable side plate design that makes maintenance and internal inspection far more user-friendly than many traditional revolvers. Sights are practical and straightforward, typically featuring a ramp front sight and a fully adjustable rear sight that allows shooters to zero the revolver for different ammunition types. Ergonomics lean toward classic comfort rather than aggressive modern shaping. The grips are generous, filling the hand well and providing excellent control under recoil. Shooters with larger hands in particular tend to find the Big Boy Revolver very comfortable. Concealed carry is possible, but this is not a revolver designed primarily for that role. It is a range gun, a trail gun, and a revolver you enjoy shooting as much as owning. Price is another part of the story, with real-world pricing usually sitting between $900 and $1,000, depending on finish. The Big Boy Revolver is not cheap, but it feels appropriately priced for the materials, fit, and overall quality. The main downsides are size and weight. It is not compact, and it is not lightweight, which may turn away shooters looking for a dedicated defensive carry revolver. The Henry Big Boy Revolver earns its #2 spot because it brings something rare to the .357 Magnum conversation: character without compromise. It is powerful, accurate, beautifully built, and genuinely enjoyable to shoot. It proves that traditional American craftsmanship still has a place in the modern revolver market, and it does so without sacrificing performance. For shooters who value substance, durability, and pride of ownership, the Big Boy Revolver stands just one step below the very top. Number 3. Colt King Cobra. The Colt King Cobra represents one of the smartest comebacks in modern revolver history. This is not a simple revival built to cash in on nostalgia. It is a carefully re-engineered .357 Magnum revolver that blends Colt's legendary snake gun heritage with modern manufacturing, stronger materials, and real-world shootability. The King Cobra sits in a unique position because it manages to feel both classic and contemporary at the same time. And that balance is exactly why it earns such a high spot on this list. At its core, the King Cobra is built around a robust stainless steel frame designed to handle regular use with full-power .357 Magnum ammunition. Unlike some older Colt revolvers that could be sensitive to heavy Magnum diets, the modern King Cobra feels confident and composed under recoil. Most current production models feature a 4.25-inch barrel, a length that hits a near-perfect sweet spot. It is long enough to generate excellent velocity and accuracy, yet short enough to maintain fast handling and good balance. In the hand, the revolver feels lively rather than front-heavy, which makes rapid target transitions feel natural. Weight plays a big role in how well the King Cobra shoots. Unloaded, it typically comes in around 28 ounces, making it noticeably lighter than large-frame duty revolvers, but still heavy enough to manage recoil effectively. With full-power Magnum loads, recoil is sharp but controlled, and the revolver tracks well from shot to shot. With 38 special ammunition, the King Cobra becomes extremely comfortable and forgiving, which makes it an excellent platform for extended practice sessions. That flexibility is a major reason so many shooters find it easy to live with. The trigger is where Colt's reputation truly shines. In double action, the pull is smooth, consistent, and free of stacking, allowing shooters to roll through the trigger without disturbing the sights. It encourages deliberate, accurate shooting rather than rushed shots. In single action, the break is clean and predictable, making precision work feel effortless. This trigger quality alone places the King Cobra ahead of many competitors in its class. Sights are modern and practical. The high-visibility fiber optic front sight stands out instantly in varied lighting conditions, while the adjustable rear sight allows fine-tuning for different loads. This setup works equally well for range shooting, competition-style drills, or defensive practice. The custom wood grips with Colt medallions add a touch of tradition, but they are also shaped to provide solid control and natural hand placement. For shooters who prefer a different feel, aftermarket options are plentiful. Capacity remains a traditional 6 rounds, which helps keep the frame compact and the cylinder strong. Lockup is tight, timing is consistent, and overall fit and finish reflect Colt's renewed focus on quality control. The revolver feels solid without being bulky, refined without being delicate. The main drawback is price. With real-world pricing around $1,150, the King Cobra costs more than many excellent .357 Magnum revolvers. It is also not the lightest option for concealed carry, though it can be carried with the right setup. Even so, the Colt King Cobra earns its number 3 position because it delivers something rare. It offers true Colt trigger feel, modern durability, excellent balance, and everyday shootability in one package. It is not just a revival done right, it is a revolver that proves Colt still knows exactly how a .357 Magnum should feel in the hand. Number 4. Ruger GP100. If the Smith & Wesson 686 represents balance and refinement, the Ruger GP100 represents raw strength and long-term survival. This revolver was built with a very clear philosophy: make it as strong and as simple as possible, then make sure it keeps working no matter how hard it gets pushed. Ruger never chased elegance with the GP100. They chased durability, and over time that decision turned this revolver into one of the most trusted 357 Magnum workhorses ever made. The GP100 is built on a solid one-piece frame with no side plate, which immediately gives it a structural advantage. Everything feels thick, dense, and overbuilt, and that is exactly the point. In its most common configuration, the revolver wears a barrel a little over 4 inches long, which delivers excellent velocity from 357 Magnum ammunition, while keeping the gun balanced and controllable. Unloaded weight sits right around 40 ounces, and that mass plays a huge role in how shootable the GP100 feels. Full power Magnum loads come straight back into the hand with a heavy, controlled push rather than a sharp snap, making long shooting sessions far more comfortable than many lighter revolvers. One of the defining features of the GP100 is Ruger's triple locking cylinder system. The cylinder locks at the front, the rear, and the bottom, creating extremely precise alignment between the chamber and the barrel. This improves accuracy, enhances reliability, and dramatically increases the revolver's ability to handle high round counts. It is not uncommon to see GP100s that have fired thousands upon thousands of full-power Magnum rounds and still feel tight, smooth, and mechanically sound. The transfer bar safety system is another Ruger hallmark. It allows the revolver to be safely carried with all 6 chambers loaded, without worrying about an accidental discharge if the gun is dropped or struck. From a practical standpoint, this makes the GP100 very forgiving and user-friendly, especially for shooters who prioritize safety alongside performance. Ergonomics are intentionally simple but effective. The grip frame design accepts a wide range of aftermarket grips, which is one of the reasons this revolver appeals to so many different shooters. The factory Hogue monogrip does an excellent job of filling the hand and absorbing recoil, making even heavy Magnum loads manageable. Sights are straightforward and functional, with an adjustable rear sight and a ramp-style front sight that works well across different lighting conditions. Maintenance is another area where the GP100 shines. The revolver can be disassembled without special tools, breaking down into modular subassemblies that are easy to clean and inspect. This is a gun built for owners who actually shoot, maintain, and depend on their equipment rather than just admire it. The downsides are mostly about size and feel. The GP100 is not light and it is not sleek. Concealed carry takes commitment, and the trigger out of the box can feel heavier and less refined than some competitors, though it smooths out nicely with use. Pricing typically sits around $800, which is reasonable but still an investment. Even with those considerations, the Ruger GP100 earns its number 4 position because it is nearly impossible to wear out and incredibly difficult to break. It is the revolver people choose when they want something that will still be running decades from now with minimal fuss. In the world of 357 Magnum revolvers, the GP100 is not about flash or prestige. It is about absolute trust, and that makes it one of the greatest ever built. Number 5. Smith & Wesson 686. The Smith & Wesson 686 is one of those revolvers that earned its reputation the hard way, through decades of real use by law enforcement officers, hunters, competitive shooters, and everyday enthusiasts who demanded a Magnum revolver that could take abuse without losing accuracy or reliability. When Smith & Wesson introduced the L-frame design, it was a direct response to a real problem. Shooters loved the power of the 357 Magnum, but smaller frames were not always happy digesting a steady diet of full-power Magnum ammunition. The 686 was built specifically to solve that issue, and it succeeded so well that it became a benchmark for what a durable Magnum revolver should be. Built on the L-frame, the 686 sits right in the sweet spot between compact carry revolvers and massive end-frame duty guns. It is large enough to handle continuous Magnum use, yet still manageable for a wide range of shooters. In its most common configuration, the revolver features a barrel length just over 4 inches, which provides excellent velocity, accuracy, and balance. Overall weight typically comes in at around 40 ounces unloaded, and that mass works in your favor by soaking up recoil and keeping the gun stable during rapid fire. With full power 357 Magnum ammunition, the recoil feels firm but controlled, not punishing. Accuracy is one of the 6.86's strongest traits. The rigid frame and well-supported barrel help maintain consistent alignment shot after shot. Many shooters find that this revolver delivers impressive accuracy straight out of the box. Whether they are shooting slow-fire groups at the range or engaging targets more dynamically. The 6-round cylinder offers a classic balance of capacity and strength, and the lockup is robust enough to handle high round counts without loosening. Ergonomics are another reason this revolver has such broad appeal. The grip frame accommodates a wide variety of factory and aftermarket grips, allowing shooters to tailor the feel to their hand size and shooting style. The factory synthetic grips provide solid control and help manage recoil, especially during longer range sessions. Sights are practical and effective, with a red ramp front sight that is easy to see in different lighting conditions, and an adjustable rear sight that allows precise zeroing for different ammunition types. The double action and single action trigger system gives shooters flexibility. In double action, the pull is smooth and predictable, well suited for defensive shooting and competition. In single action, the trigger brake is clean and crisp, making precision work straightforward. Stainless steel construction throughout provides excellent corrosion resistance and durability, which is one of the reasons the 6.86 became so popular with duty users who carried their revolvers daily. There are very few real downsides to the Smith & Wesson 6.86. It is not a lightweight revolver, and it is not the smallest option for concealed carry. Price is also higher than entry-level revolvers, with modern examples typically selling around $900. Even so, the 6.86 earns its number 5 spot because it represents one of the most balanced and proven 357 Magnum revolvers ever made. It is strong without being unwieldy, accurate without being delicate, and versatile enough to handle everything from range work to hunting to defensive use. For many shooters, the Smith & Wesson 6.86 is not just a great Magnum revolver, it is the standard by which others are measured. Number 6. Diamondback SDR. The Diamondback SDR feels like a revolver designed by people who actually carry revolvers, not just admire them. From the first trigger pull, it becomes clear that this is not a retro throwback or a budget compromise. It is a modern 357 Magnum revolver built specifically for concealed carry and defensive use, with design choices that focus on shootability under stress rather than nostalgia. Diamondback took a hard look at what shooters complain about with compact revolvers and quietly fixed many of those issues in one clean, purposeful package. One of the biggest standouts is the trigger system. The SDR uses a non-stacking trigger geometry, which means the double-action pull stays consistent from start to finish, instead of getting heavier right before the break. In real-world defensive shooting, that matters a lot. The pull feels smooth, predictable, and controllable, allowing accurate shots even when your heart rate is up and fine motor skills are not perfect. It honestly feels closer to a custom-tuned revolver than something in this price range. Single action is crisp and clean, but the real magic is how confident the gun feels when run fast in double action. The 3-inch barrel is a smart choice, and a big reason this revolver performs as well as it does. It is long enough to give 357 Magnum ammunition meaningful velocity, yet short enough to conceal comfortably without constantly poking or printing. At the muzzle, Diamondback machines a 45-degree recessed target crown that protects the rifling and helps preserve accuracy over time. This is the kind of detail you usually see on higher-end revolvers, not something marketed primarily for everyday carry. Capacity is another pleasant surprise. Instead of the typical 5-round layout found on many compact revolvers, the SDR holds 6 rounds. That extra round comes without a noticeable penalty in size or balance, and for a defensive revolver, it is a meaningful upgrade. Unloaded weight comes in at just under 24 ounces, making it extremely easy to carry for long periods. Despite the lighter weight, recoil remains manageable thanks to good balance and a well-designed grip. The Hogue Black Mono Grip fills the hand naturally and provides solid control, even when firing full-power Magnum loads. The sights are clearly optimized for real-world use. The low-profile fiber optic front sight is bright and fast to pick up in varied lighting, while the rear sight stays snag-free for smooth draws from concealment. The push-button cylinder release is another modern touch, positioned ergonomically and textured for positive engagement even with sweaty or gloved hands. Diamondback also made maintenance simple. With a single button press, the entire cylinder and crane assembly can be removed as one contained unit, making cleaning and inspection straightforward even for newer revolver owners. The SDR is built from forged stainless steel, giving it excellent durability and corrosion resistance. The polished stainless finish looks clean and professional without being flashy. Real-world pricing tends to sit around $650, placing it firmly in the mid-range category. That makes it far more accessible than premium European revolvers, while still offering features and refinement that feel well above its price point. There are some trade-offs. Lighter weight means recoil is still noticeable with hot Magnum loads, and some shooters may prefer to practice primarily with .38 special ammunition. It also lacks the historical pedigree that draws collectors to classic names. Even so, the Diamondback SDR earns its number 6 position because it represents what a modern defensive revolver should be. It is compact, shootable, innovative, and built around how people actually use revolvers today. For shooters who want .357 Magnum power in a carry-friendly, thoughtfully engineered package, the SDR stands out as one of the most forward-thinking wheel guns ever made. Number 7. Manurhin MR73. If there is one .357 Magnum revolver on this list that feels less like a commercial firearm and more like a duty-grade instrument built for extreme conditions, it is the Manurhin MR73. This revolver was never designed to win beauty contests or impress casual shooters at the range. It was built to survive relentless use by professionals whose lives depended on their equipment. And that mindset is baked into every part of its design. Originally developed for the French gendarmerie and elite special service units, the MR73 earned its reputation the hard way, through endurance testing that most revolvers would never survive. The MR73 is a full-size, all-steel revolver chambered in .357 Magnum, and it was engineered from the start to fire full-power Magnum ammunition exclusively. During development, these revolvers were tested with tens of thousands of full-strength Magnum rounds without parts breakage or loss of timing. That kind of durability is not marketing language. It is the reason French counter-terror and law enforcement units trusted this revolver for decades. Most common configurations feature a 4-inch barrel, which provides an excellent balance of velocity, accuracy, and handling. Overall length comes in at just over 9 inches, giving the shooter a stable sight radius without making the gun unwieldy. Weight is another key part of the MR73's character. Unloaded, it typically sits around 34 ounces, depending on configuration. That weight helps tame recoil and keeps the revolver flat during firing, even with heavy Magnum loads. Recoil is firm but controlled, more of a solid push than a sharp snap, which allows experienced shooters to stay on target and deliver accurate follow-up shots. This is not a lightweight carry revolver. It is a service revolver designed to be shot hard and often. The trigger is where European craftsmanship truly shines. The double-action pull is smooth, consistent, and deliberate, with no stacking and no grit. It encourages controlled, accurate shooting rather than rush shots. In single action, the break is clean and precise, making the MR73 an outstanding choice for precision work. Cylinder lockup is rock solid, timing is exact, and everything about the action feels overbuilt in the best possible way. 6-round capacity keeps the cylinder strong and balanced, prioritizing reliability over chasing higher capacity numbers. Fit and finish are purposeful rather than flashy. The exterior finish is typically subdued, designed to resist wear and corrosion instead of drawing attention. Grips are functional and ergonomic, accommodating larger hands comfortably and providing excellent control under recoil. Sights are clear, usable, and built for real shooting conditions rather than competition aesthetics. Everything about this revolver communicates seriousness. The biggest downside is accessibility. With modern prices hovering around $3,500 in the American market, the MR73 is firmly in the premium category. Availability is limited, parts and service are specialized, and this is not a revolver most people will ever own. It is also large and heavy compared to modern defensive carry guns, but that is not the point of the MR73. It earns its place at number 7 because it represents one of the strongest, most durable, and most battle-proven .357 Magnum revolvers ever built. It is a revolver designed for absolute reliability under the worst conditions imaginable. For shooters and collectors who value engineering integrity, professional pedigree, and uncompromising durability, the Manurhin MR73 is not just a great Magnum revolver, it is a legend forged through real-world service. Number 8. Colt Python. There are revolvers that people respect, and then there are revolvers that people talk about in a lower voice. The Colt Python has always belonged to the second group. In the world of .357 Magnum revolvers, the Python is not just a firearm, it is a symbol. It represents a time when revolvers were built with obsessive attention to detail, when smoothness and precision mattered as much as raw strength. The modern Colt Python brings that legend into the present, and it does so without pretending the past was perfect. Instead, it fixes the weaknesses of earlier generations while preserving everything that made the Python famous in the first place. The current production Colt Python is built from modern stainless steel alloys that offer far better strength and corrosion resistance than the classic carbon steel versions. One of the most important updates is hidden beneath the rear adjustable sight, where Colt engineers added roughly 30% more steel to reinforce the frame. This change directly addresses the timing and durability concerns that occasionally affected older Pythons when fed a steady diet of full-power .357 Magnum ammunition. The result is a revolver that feels solid, confident, and capable of handling modern Magnum loads without drama. Most shooters gravitate toward the 3-inch and 4¼ barrel versions, and both offer a smart balance between portability and ballistic performance. The recessed target crown protects the rifling from damage and contributes to the Python's reputation for excellent accuracy. The user-interchangeable front sight system allows shooters to tailor the sight picture for different applications, whether that means range work, competition, or defensive use. The rear sight is fully adjustable and noticeably more robust than earlier designs, holding 0 even under heavy use. The trigger is where the Python truly earns its reputation. In double action, the pull is long, fluid, and consistent, with a smoothness that few modern revolvers can match. In single action, the break is clean and predictable, making precision shooting feel almost effortless. This is the kind of trigger that rewards good technique and actively encourages shooters to slow down and shoot well. 6-round capacity remains standard, keeping the revolver balanced and reliable. Ergonomics also play a big role in the Python's appeal. The classic walnut grips with the Colt medallion are not just decorative. They fit the hand naturally and provide excellent control under recoil, especially with heavier Magnum loads. Weight typically falls in the low 40-ounce range, depending on barrel length, and that mass works in the shooter's favor, soaking up recoil and keeping the gun flat during rapid fire. The biggest drawback is price. At around $1,700, the Colt Python is significantly more expensive than many excellent alternatives. It is also not the lightest option for carry, and some shooters may prefer more aggressive grips for defensive use. Even so, The Colt Python earns its number 8 position because it combines history, refinement, and modern reliability in a way no other revolver quite matches. It is not just one of the best .357 Magnum revolvers ever made. For many shooters, it is the revolver by which all others are judged. Number 9. Taurus 692 Executive. The Taurus 692 Executive is where practicality and ambition collide, and it is one of the most interesting .357 Magnum revolvers ever put into regular production. This is not just a slightly upgraded duty revolver or a cosmetic special edition. The 692 Executive exists because Taurus decided to solve a problem most revolver makers simply ignored. Why force shooters to choose between calibers when modern engineering can offer both in one platform? The result is a revolver that quietly punches far above its price class and earns its place among the best .357 Magnum revolvers of all time. At its core, the 692 Executive is a medium-frame revolver chambered in .357 Magnum, but it also includes a second cylinder that allows it to fire 9mm ammunition, and 9mm is spoken as 9mm. The cylinder swap system is simple, secure, and surprisingly fast, turning this revolver into 2 distinct firearms without gimmicks or compromise. You can train with widely available and affordable 9mm, enjoy softer recoil and quicker follow-up shots, then switch to full-power .357 Magnum when you want maximum performance. That kind of versatility is almost unheard of in the revolver world, especially at this price point. The Executive designation actually means something here. These revolvers receive additional hand fitting and finishing compared to standard production models. The trigger is noticeably smoother, both in double action and single action, and the overall feel of the gun reflects extra time spent by skilled hands rather than just machines. The barrel is typically around 3 inches long, which strikes a very smart balance. It is long enough to extract meaningful velocity from Magnum loads, yet short enough to remain compact and carry-friendly. Weight comes in around 35 ounces unloaded, and that extra mass works in your favor by taming recoil and keeping the gun stable during rapid shooting. One standout feature is the ported barrel. Porting helps redirect gases upward, reducing muzzle rise and making heavy Magnum loads feel closer to hot .38 special ammunition than true wrist-snapping Magnums. This makes the 692 Executive far more approachable for shooters who want power without punishment. Capacity is another advantage, with a 7-round cylinder that gives you 1 more round than traditional 6-shot revolvers, without making the frame feel oversized or awkward. The finish is where the Executive name really shows. The hand-polished satin stainless finish looks refined without being fragile, offering excellent corrosion resistance for carry and long-term durability. The adjustable rear sight paired with a brass insert front sight provides a clear, high-contrast sight picture in a wide range of lighting conditions. The extended ejector rod ensures positive extraction, even with stubborn Magnum cases. And that is something experienced revolver shooters immediately appreciate. Of course, there are trade-offs. At around $750, this is not a budget revolver, and it is heavier than many people expect for a carry gun. The porting increases blast and noise, especially indoors, and 9mm reliability depends on quality moon clips and proper technique. Taurus quality has improved dramatically, but some shooters still prefer to thoroughly test any revolver before relying on it. Even with those considerations, the Taurus 692 Executive earns its number 9 spot because it dares to be different and actually succeeds. It offers real innovation, genuine versatility, and strong performance without demanding luxury brand pricing. In a world full of traditional wheel guns, this revolver stands out as a modern solution that still respects the power and legacy of the .357 Magnum. Number 10. Ruger SP101. The Ruger SP101 is proof that toughness can be engineered into a revolver without turning it into something bulky or impractical. When Ruger designed the SP101, the mission was clear from the beginning: create the strongest small-frame 357 Magnum revolver possible. One that could actually survive regular Magnum use instead of merely being rated for it on paper. Decades later, that goal is exactly why the SP-101 has earned a reputation as one of the most durable, compact Magnum revolvers ever built, and why it deserves a place among the best 357 revolvers of all time. This revolver is built from solid stainless steel with no side plates, a signature Ruger design choice that immediately increases structural rigidity. The result is a compact revolver that feels dense and confidence-inspiring the moment you pick it up. In typical configurations, the SP-101 weighs around 26 ounces unloaded, which is noticeably heavier than many other small-frame revolvers. But that weight is intentional. It helps soak up recoil and makes full-power 357 Magnum ammunition far more controllable than you would expect from a revolver of this size. With 38 special ammunition, the gun feels almost relaxed, making it an excellent training platform for shooters who want to build skill without punishment. Most popular SP-101 models feature a barrel in the 2¼ inch range, keeping overall length to roughly 7 inches and making the revolver easy to conceal and carry. Despite the short barrel, the SP-101 delivers surprisingly good velocity from Magnum loads, thanks to tight chamber tolerances and efficient barrel design. Recoil is firm, but it is a straight-back push rather than the sharp snap you feel from lighter revolvers. That difference matters during longer practice sessions or defensive drills. One of the standout features of the SP-101 is Ruger's triple-locking cylinder system. The cylinder locks at the front, rear, and bottom, creating exceptional alignment between the chamber and the barrel. This improves accuracy, enhances reliability, and contributes to the revolver's long service life. It is not uncommon to see SP-101 revolvers with extremely high round counts that are still tight, still in time, and still shooting to point of aim. The transfer bar safety system adds another layer of confidence, allowing the revolver to be safely carried with all 5 chambers loaded. Ergonomics are another strong point. The factory rubber grip with cushioned backstrap completely covers the metal frame in the recoil area, eliminating the hot spots that plague many compact Magnum revolvers. This makes a noticeable difference when shooting full-power 357 Magnum ammunition. The grip frame also accepts a wide range of aftermarket grips, allowing shooters to fine-tune fit and feel to their hands. Fixed rear sights paired with a black ramp front sight keep the sight picture simple and rugged, ideal for defensive use in varied lighting conditions. Maintenance is refreshingly straightforward. The SP-101 can be field stripped without special tools, breaking down into simple sub-assemblies that are easy to clean and inspect. This is a revolver designed for people who actually shoot their guns, not just admire them. There are, of course, compromises. At around $660, the SP-101 is more expensive than budget revolvers, and it only holds 5 rounds. The trigger out of the box can feel heavier than competitors, though it smooths out significantly with use or light tuning. Even so, the Ruger SP-101 earns its spot at number 10 because it delivers something rare in a compact revolver. True 357 Magnum durability in a size that makes sense for everyday carry. It is not flashy, it is not elegant, but it is brutally reliable, endlessly durable, and honest in its design. For many shooters, that makes it the perfect small-frame Magnum revolver. Number 11. Korth Supersport. When people talk about the absolute peak of 357 Magnum revolver engineering, the Korth Supersport is the gun that quietly ends the argument. This is not a revolver designed for casual shooters or impulse buyers. It is a precision instrument built for people who already understand revolvers and want to experience what happens when cost is not the primary limitation. With real-world prices hovering around $4,500 or even higher depending on configuration, the Korth Supersport sits firmly in the no compromise category. And yet, For shooters who have spent serious time behind one, the price stops being the headline and becomes part of the explanation. The Supersport is built entirely from fully machined billet steel, not cast parts, not shortcuts, but dense, precisely cut steel held to tolerances that feel almost unreal when you cycle the action. Everything about this revolver feels deliberate. The cylinder lockup is bank vault tight, timing is flawless. The action glides instead of rotates. Most Supersport models feature a 6-inch Lothar-Walther cold-forged polygonal barrel. And that barrel is a major reason this revolver delivers accuracy that borders on unfair. Polygonal rifling provides excellent gas seal and consistency, and when paired with Korth's alignment and chamber precision, it produces groups that feel more like a high-end target pistol than a traditional wheel gun. One of the defining features of the Korth Supersport is the roller-bearing trigger system. This is not marketing fluff. In double action, the trigger pull is unbelievably smooth, with zero stacking and a consistent feel all the way through the stroke. In single action, the brake is so clean it almost feels electronic, like snapping a glass rod with no creep and no grit. For shooters who value trigger control above everything else, this alone can justify the Supersport's reputation. It is a trigger that actively makes you a better shooter because it removes mechanical distraction and lets you focus purely on sight alignment and pressure. Another standout feature is the interchangeable cylinder system. With a simple, well-engineered swap, the Supersport can transition from .357 Magnum to 9mm ammunition. And yes, 9mm is spoken as 9mm. This effectively gives you two different shooting experiences in one revolver. You can run classic Magnum loads when you want power and tradition, or switch to 9mm for cheaper practice and softer recoil, all while maintaining Korth's legendary precision. Picatinny rail sections allow for optics or accessories without compromising the revolver's balance, and the ergonomically contoured Turkish walnut grips lock the hand in place with a level of control that feels almost intuitive. Weight comes in just under 3 pounds unloaded, and while that may sound heavy, the balance is exceptional. The revolver sits naturally in the hand and stays flat during recoil, making long shooting sessions surprisingly fatigue-free. Every visible surface shows hand finishing work, and even the internal components, parts most shooters will never see, receive the same level of attention. That kind of craftsmanship is rare in modern firearms production. Of course, there are drawbacks. The price alone puts it far out of reach for most shooters. Parts and service are specialized, and this is not the kind of revolver you casually toss into a range bag without thinking. It is also overkill for defensive carry, both in size and cost. But the Korth Supersport is not trying to be practical in the everyday sense. It is trying to be perfect, and in many ways, it succeeds. The Korth Supersport earns its place at number 11 because it represents the outer edge of what a .357 Magnum revolver can be when engineering, craftsmanship, and performance are pushed as far as possible. It is not just one of the best Magnum revolvers ever made. It is one of the finest revolvers, period. Number 12. Taurus Defender 605. When people talk about the .357 Magnum, they usually jump straight to legendary names and high price tags. But the Taurus Defender 605 proves that real Magnum capability does not have to be expensive or complicated. This is a revolver built for shooters who care more about practicality than prestige. It regularly sells for around $350, and at that price point, it opens the door to Magnum power for a huge number of people who would never spend collector-level money on a revolver. That alone makes it historically important in the .357 conversation. The Defender 605 is a 5-shot revolver chambered in .357 Magnum, and it also runs 38 special ammunition, including 38 special plus P ammunition. That flexibility is one of its biggest strengths. You can train comfortably with lighter 38 special loads, focus on fundamentals, and avoid developing a flinch, then load full-power Magnums when you want maximum defensive performance. In a compact revolver, that matters more than raw numbers on a spec sheet. With a short barrel in the 2-inch class, the overall length stays compact, making it easy to carry in real life, not just in theory. Weight plays a big role here as well. At roughly 24 ounces unloaded in most stainless configurations, the Defender 605 sits in a sweet spot. It is light enough for extended carry without dragging your belt down, yet heavy enough to be controllable with proper technique. With full Magnum ammunition, recoil is sharp, as you would expect from a small frame revolver. But with 38 special ammunition, it becomes far more manageable and even enjoyable to shoot. That balance encourages practice, and practice is what actually makes a defensive handgun effective. The stainless steel construction gives this revolver solid durability and corrosion resistance, especially important for a gun that may be carried close to the body in hot or humid conditions. The matte-style finish helps reduce glare and keeps the gun discreet. The transfer bar safety system adds an extra layer of confidence during carry, reducing the risk of accidental discharge if the revolver is dropped. Fixed sights keep the design simple and snag-free, which is exactly what many people want in a compact defensive revolver. The double-action and single-action trigger gives you options, whether you are firing fast, deliberate defensive shots, or slowing things down for more precise single-action work at the range. Of course, there are trade-offs. The trigger is not as refined as what you get on premium revolvers, and recoil with full-power Magnums can be demanding for newer shooters. The short barrel also means a shorter ejector stroke, which can slow reloads if you are not practiced. Quality control has improved significantly over the years, but this is still a budget revolver, so it deserves a proper function check and range time before being trusted for serious use. Even with those limitations, the Taurus Defender 605 earns its place as one of the best .357 Magnum revolvers of all time because of what it represents. It brings genuine Magnum power to everyday shooters, offers training flexibility with 38 special ammunition, and delivers real-world usability at a price that makes sense. It may not be glamorous, but it is honest, capable, and accessible. And that is exactly why it belongs on this list at number 12. The .357 Magnum is more than just a powerful cartridge. It represents an entire philosophy of handgun design built around balance, control, and absolute reliability. The revolvers on this list did not earn their status through marketing or trends. They earned it through decades of real-world use, hard recoil, and shooters who trusted them when it mattered most. Each one reflects a different approach to the same goal, delivering serious power in a form that remains accurate, controllable, and dependable over time. Whether you are drawn to classic duty revolvers, modern engineering, or old-school craftsmanship, one thing is clear: the .357 Magnum is still one of the most complete and versatile handgun platforms ever created, and these wheel guns represent its highest achievements. If you think we missed a revolver, or you have a personal favorite, let us know in the comments. And if you want more deep, no-nonsense firearm breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next.